Greetings, I'm Solidus-Skully, and all hail our lords and masters over at the Disney Corporation. I have no idea why I just said that, it just sort of came out of me. But what is this? Square Enix? Oh, the Edgar Rice Burroughs estate and Final Fantasy. Well, I'm sure this has nothing to do with, yeah, it's Kingdom Hearts Final Mix. One of the more widely available versions of the game, which is something that you probably wouldn't have been thinking about a decade ago, when it took several fucking years for Final Mix to get here, and then when it finally did, we basically rejoiced, and it basically became the de facto version of Kingdom Hearts packaged with every single version of the game that's came out. We'll get into that a little bit later, but yes, it is time for Kingdom Hearts, a brand new, brand spackled, dick-tickling, pussy-fingering commentary. Wow, that was incredibly raunchy. But, yeah, Kingdom Hearts, it's a commentary I've been wanting to do for a while, and one that I probably should have done earlier than I did, since I previously did Chain of Memories, which is, well, for those of you wondering, is my second favourite Kingdom Hearts game, well, followed by... well, we'll get to that one. But where Kingdom Hearts 1 stands, it's kind of battling out with Kingdom Hearts 3 in terms of being either my third favourite or my fourth favourite. And it's also kind of weird saying that, because, like, I mean... I don't know, Kingdom Hearts 3 is still kind of... I don't know why, like, I mean, it's been a couple of years since Kingdom Hearts 3 has been out, but at the same time, it still kind of feels like... I don't know, like, you don't expect it to be there. But anyway, we're not talking about future games in the series, instead we're talking about the game that started it all. A game that was simple and clean, and... something and mean. Also, it is incredibly weird to hear Haley Joel Osment as he was, before puberty hit him like a truck, and before his Sora voice became, like... incredibly painful in the throat. Cause yeah, his voice deepened quite significantly, and if you've heard his Sora voice nowadays, it sounds like well, very Roger Craig Smith, and that's what I'm gonna say for it for now. To delve into my history a little bit with Kingdom Hearts, again, like initially, back when the game first came out, I wasn't really that much following it, because, again, I wasn't really into a lot of Disney stuff. I mean, I did see some movies when I was a kid, but like... again, I think it was around like 5 years old, I was mainly getting into more stuff like, you know, Star Wars, Doctor Who, and, you know, watching the stuff like The Matrix at an age where I probably shouldn't, so, yeah, the whole sort of, this is cool, kind of made me reject the whole Disney aspect, but, again, going around at my school at the time, like, I mean, Kingdom Hearts was popular, like, especially if you had a PS2, there were a lot of people going around and, you know, really loving the shit out of this game and talking about it a lot, and... I mean, it wasn't until Kingdom Hearts 2 where I gave the series a try, and... I don't know. Like, I mean, this series was, and still is to a certain extent, one of the biggest video game franchises of all time. And also one of a very bizarre concept. Like, I mean, I don't know, I don't usually try and voice my opinion on the state of the games industry today, but... let me just say, the 2000s was a very weird time, but also a wonderful time, because you would never see such a bizarre pairing of Final Fantasy and Disney ever in this day and age. Like, I mean, there'd probably be lawsuits up the arse, there'd be people, you know, immediately shitting on the concept and saying that it couldn't work, but again, say what you will about the later Kingdom Hearts sequels, but Kingdom Hearts 1, I'd say, is the only real game that ever got the melding of Disney and anime-esque Final Fantasy right. Like, I mean, I will say I do prefer some of the sequels over this game, but... I don't know, Kingdom Hearts 1 is still a very complete package, in my own opinion, so... we'll get to the nitty-gritty details as we get on, because trust me, there is quite a lot to cover when it comes to Kingdom Hearts, and, well, something I will just say right off the bat, this is gonna be a more complete playthrough of Kingdom Hearts than I've ever really done before, because... well, when it comes to the super bosses, completing the synthesis stuff, I never really tackled any of that. In fact, the only super boss I really managed to defeat was, Kurt Caesar before this point, and I still have to tackle the super bosses, so, yeah, that's, gonna be fun, in terms of recording. But anyway, the mission statement for this playthrough is generally to, basically just kind of complete the game for the most part. There is only one aspect of the gameplay that I'm not really gonna be bothering with, and I'll get to that when we get to it, but in the meantime, what is this? A very esoteric arena. We see Snow White, and this mysterious spiky-head kid that kind of looks like a mixture between Mickey Mouse and Sion Barzard from The Bouncer. Which is actually a little bit apropos, because our 14-year-old protagonist Sora here was actually... well, he was initially meant to be based on two things. Back when the game was initially in development, he was initially meant to be Mickey Mouse, but of course, because Disney is very protective of their properties, yeah, they gave the nix on that and suggested Donald Duck instead, which is what basically led creator Tetsuya Nomura to sort of go for his own route and basically making the protagonist, well, something of his own, which is how we got Sora here. But again, his design was meant to invoke Mickey Mouse's colour scheme. Again, bright red shorts, yellow shoes, and the black t-shirt. But again, of course, we also have the general design of Sora, again, the belts, the chain, and all that kind of stuff, being inspired by Sion Barzard. For the one or two people who've ever played the game The Bouncer on PS2, I don't know. But anyway, to discuss these little trinkets here. These are basically going to be deciding your focus, so to speak. Again, pick up the sword, you have more attack power. Pick up the stave, you get magic. Pick up the shield, you get added defense. I'm going to be going for defense because, well, considering the fact that I'm going to be tackling Sephiroth, the Phantom, and the Superior, I was about to spoil his name there, but I won't for the sake of future stuff. Yeah, you're going to want that extra added defense, and these actually do also come into play a little bit more, because depending on which specific stats you pick, again, you pick one to keep and one to drop, so again, we're going to be picking up shield, which means added defense, and we're going to be dropping magic, meaning that we don't quite have as much MP, which might be a bit of a bane for me when I decide to tackle the Phantom. But more on that later. Anyway, as I was mentioning before, these also have specific attributes, because the one you pick mainly, again, it's pretty much the thing that'll... I guess it'll form as your weapon, because again, you'll surely be seeing Sora holding the shield, and that'll basically be his weapon for this little tutorial sequence. But again, as I was mentioning earlier, they have specific stat buffs and attributes, and again, one of the bigger things in terms of leveling is that these weapons also affect what sort of level up patterns you'll be getting, and something that I actually learned when I was trying to grind for Scan a little bit earlier today, but yeah, we'll save that for later. Again, basically all that it means is, because I'm kind of rambling at this point, is that you get certain abilities at specific levels. Like, for example, if you're going to get Scan at level 9, you pick the magic one, because, well, I actually don't really know. I guess maybe because I consider it a magic ability. Whereas if you get it with a shield, you get it at level 21, which is kind of a pain in the ass, because it means you gotta grind a lot. But then again, it's RPG staples, so whatevers. And of course, if you pick the sword, you get it at level 15, which is what I thought you would have gotten it at the shield, but again, it wasn't until this very playthrough, in fact, where I learned about, what you pick affects what sort of abilities you get. And again, this tutorial is actually kind of rife with a lot of that sort of stuff, so, yeah, choose wisely. And in any case, well, the enemies you just saw right there are, main antagonists for the game. They're called the Heartless, even though they're... well, I'll get into the Heartless a little bit later. There's actually two distinctions between Heartless. The shadows you're seeing right here, with the cute glowing eyes and the wiggling antenna and the wiggling butt, they're called pure Heartless. Basically, they're, well, born from the shadows. And again, to go into the whole light and darkness thing, it's basically consider it more like the Force. Like, again, you have the light side, which is, Keyblade, using light, healing, all that good stuff, and the darkness is basically, negative shit. Being mean, being evil, causing harm to others, and essentially drawing on the dark powers of reality. Again, it's basically like a natural force of nature, really. And of course, the darkness drags you in. Again, Kingdom Hearts is usually very, sort of esoteric about its concepts. I'll try my best to explain them in layman's terms as best I can, but then again, Kingdom Hearts is also very labyrinthian, but the first game keeps it simple enough, so, I don't know, I'll do my best to highlight it where I can, but this game does get labyrinthian at times, so, watch your back. There really isn't much to say here, basically. Again, you can whack people with the shield, you can interact with objects by pressing the triangle button. A bit of a change up from the original Kingdom Hearts, actually, because one thing Final Mix did was attempt to kind of add like a bit of a streamlining kind of thing, because usually if you wanted to select objects and, access treasure chests like you would right here, you'd have to, move the right analog stick, select the cursor from the menu right down there, into the bottom segment and open it that way. But in Kingdom Hearts Final Mix, you just press the triangle button, which is meant to be similar to the reaction commands of Kingdom Hearts 2. And yeah, it's, again, it's streamlined and it's much easier to use. Take that. And of course, we have items. We got potions, mega potions, elixirs, ethers, mega ethers, all that good stuff, and items that'll basically help us throughout the game. Of course, you can also pick up and throw items, which is only really useful for, mainly just getting up to objects or just throwing them at Hercules, which we'll be getting to in a little bit. Well, a little bit, I say, in a couple of parts' time, because I don't really know how long this is going to be. It's probably going to be the longest game that I've ever done, but then again, we'll see. The door is open. Go, Sora. enter this mysterious world of light. It's beautiful. Now this is also another facet of the level up system that a lot of people tend to get confused by, but again, don't worry too much about it. Again, it's asking you to basically answer honestly, but again, this is really more of the game asking you a question on how fast you want to level up. Again, you'll have characters from Final Fantasy asking you specific questions. Again, you'll have Selphie here, well, Selphie, Tidus, and Waka, and yes, it is Tidus. Kingdom Hearts 2 confirms that it's Tidus, and if anybody calls him Tidus, well, you're wrong, fuck you, and die, because this isn't Final Fantasy X. But again, talk to Waka here, he'll basically ask you, do you want to see rest sites, be strong, broaden your horizons? Again, if you want to level up quick at the beginning of the game and, basically pick all the first options. If you want to level up steadily all across the game, pick the middle option, and if you want to level up slow at the beginning, but then level up quickly at the end of the game, you pick the last option, which is basically what I'm going to be doing. And again, this will basically affect your level up speed, and again, I think how it works is that, again, if you select all the third options, then you'll get, hang on, I'll just wait until we get what it's called, because I mean, the first option is called, I think it was Ready at Dawn, the next option is Set Sail at Midday, and the one that I'm going to be getting is Dead of Night, I think. Just wait until it shows up. Yeah, it begins at the dead of night. And again, that basically affects how you're going to be leveling up. I guess maybe if you choose to back out, you can kind of reselect it if you want to, change your options, but yeah, we're pretty satisfied with that. And again, I kind of felt like setting sail at the dead of night probably kind of adds like a little bit more symbolism to the whole thing, considering the way Kingdom Hearts 1 ends, but who knows really. Also, I suppose there is one thing I can say in terms of, my thoughts on this little introduction sequence to the Station of Awakening. It is an absolutely beautifully esoteric opening sequence of the game, I guess maybe it helps by the fact of the, Yoko Shimomura music, the fact that nobody's really speaking to you, you're just hearing these esoteric quotes from an unknown source, and you're just seeing the Heartless, and I don't know, the way in which the game sort of introduces everything visually to you, and the way in which it kind of escalates. You see these Final Fantasy characters asking you questions about yourself. I don't know, it's got obviously it's got a very dreamscape kind of effect to it, but again, it really settles the game into a nice atmosphere, and again, the fact that you're seeing a lot of this Disney iconography, again, I think it's a pretty good summation of what you're in for Kingdom Hearts, because it's basically existential dread through the filter of Disney, and again, I can't get enough of it. And again, this is basically getting you through your little options menu. Again, this is, showing you the brass tacks of leveling up. These are your items. We have a potion, which heals you for a slight amount of health restoration. Again, that's kind of obvious. And we have the Dream Shield, which will actually become rather important later on, especially in regards to synthesis. Or at least in terms, actually no, not in terms of synthesis, I believe in terms of getting magic arts, but I say too much. And again, that's our difficulty, Final Mix, which is basically the normal mode of the game. I can choose between that, Beginner, and Proud mode, which is, the game's hard mode. There's no critical in this one, absent from later Kingdom Hearts games, but yeah, that's pretty much all. Save points also rejuvenate your health and, allow you to save, obviously, access your spaceship, which again, we'll all be getting to in due time, and I've got so much to explain. Hopefully this won't become too much of a cluttered exposition dump, but I figured I might as well get this out of the way now so I can better talk over plot points, and I guess, when it comes to cutscenes, some I'll talk over, but others that are more plot relevant or stuff that I want to let slide, I'll probably let you guys listen for yourselves. Also, we gotta change the camera around while Sora's climbing the glass window panes. Gotta make it cinematic. Cinematic. Oh, 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 way, oh, way, oh, way, oh. The closer you get to light, the greater your shadow becomes. Now then, Sora, prepare to do battle with the shadow of the Sora. I can't remember who it was who told me that, but, they told me that Darkseid here was meant to be Sora's shadow, but, no, Darkseid actually has nothing to do with Sora, and I believe he's the one Kingdom Hearts Heartless that is contractually obligated to appear in every game in the series. Why? I don't know. But again, as you will notice, Darkseid has a heart-shaped object where his abdomen is, indicating that he is a Heartless. Ha! 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 But yeah, that's actually the distinction between purebred Heartless and artificial Heartless. Artificial Heartless, as you will probably be seeing as we go on, have this little, like, you know, a heart-shaped symbol with a cross on it, because, you know, they're artificial, I guess. Darkseid here is a purebred Heartless, and, again, another thing to bring up is, of course, tech points. You're going to want to be getting a lot of those, because they help you gain extra experience points, and of course you need to level up. So yeah, it's in your best interest to try and get as many tech points as you can, but you can achieve this in a bunch of different ways. In this case, when fighting Darkseid, it's basically through just striking his head. This boss fight shouldn't be too difficult though, just avoid his punches and do your best to try and avoid getting hit, which is obvious, but again, just try and aim for the head. If not, then just hit his hand, and I guess because he's a bit of a wimpy little Darkseid, he'll just run away. But again, we will be seeing this guy again, and he'll be a little bit more powerful, though given the fact that we level up, we'll arrives to meet his challenge. But this about does it for part 1 of the Kingdom Hearts commentary, so on that note, I am Solidus-Skully, keep it new metal, and next time we're going to awaken from the darkness. But the darkness will be coming for us. Catch you dudes and dudettes next time, and I'll see you later.